Today's episode of Voiced is from r/entitledparents by Deranged Behemoth and is about a hilariously chaotic confrontation where an entitled mom calls the police on her adult daughter's boyfriend for stealing her away. Wait to see what happened when the officer arrived? Subscribe if you enjoy. This happened about 5 years ago. My fiancé and I have been together 7 years this month. We were hoping to get married this year but might postpone due to the circumstances. We were reminiscing some old stories yesterday when this one came up and she suggested I share it. She was my girlfriend at the time, and I was fully aware that her mom was a few fries short of a happy meal, but this was the pinnacle of her behavior. If you guys enjoy this story, I actually have a few more I shall share if you like. The cast is EM, entitled Mom, my future mother-in-law, girlfriend Ellie, PO police officer, obviously me. Ellie and I were not living together at the time. She just stayed over from time to time when she could. I took her home after she had been staying with me a couple of days and was heading to work. But shortly after, just before getting to work, I got a phone call from her, and I could tell she was in tears. Apparently, when she got inside, entitled Mom immediately blew up on her about being gone for so long, even though it was only 2 days, and she told entitled Mom she was going to be gone and kept in contact with her while she was gone. But Ellie just sort of brushed it off and went to her room. EM's house was pretty much your stereotypical crazy cat lady house. House badly decaying, cats all over the place, going to the bathroom in random places and whatnot. And when Ellie gets to her room, she realizes while she was gone, the cats urinated and defecated all over a pile of her clean clothes. But whatever, Ellie decided to just bag them up and she would wash them next time she came to my place. Her mom didn't have a functioning washer at the time. And apparently, that really set entitled Mom off. EM apparently thought Ellie was bagging her clothes because she was planning to go back to my place that night to stay another few days. So she stomped into her room, grabbed the bag, ripped it open, and flung the clothes all over the room, along with the cat waste, while screaming at Ellie that she's not going anywhere. That's when Ellie ran outside and called me. She was so upset and didn't know what to do. Her mom had been doing crazy stuff to Ellie since I'd been with her, but up until then, I just helped her however I could while not getting involved and not saying a word to her mom. I told her to go ahead and get the things she needs, and I'll take her to my place. She said she would love that. I told my work I was going to be late due to an emergency and turned around to go pick her up. When I pulled back up to the house, Ellie was in the driveway crying. I went and hugged her, told her it was going to be okay and that she could stay with me as long as she wanted. So she went back inside to get her things. As I was standing outside waiting, I heard the door open again and went to help Ellie with her things. It's her mom. EM comes stomping out with her hair crazy and frizzled and an old nightgown. She beelines for me and gets right in my face. EM with an extremely thick, high-pitched southern accent. My daughter said I need to come out here and ask what you think of me. I knew that was a blatant lie, as Ellie would never instigate this. You got something to say? Huh? You think I'm trash, don't you, huh? That's what you think, isn't it? Again, up until now, I'd completely kept my mouth shut and was trying to maintain that. But this woman was up in my face, freaking out, and was tormenting the woman I loved, so I finally looked at her and broke my silence. OP, why do you treat her like this? Gas, what do you mean? That's my daughter, and I worship the ground she walks on. Oh, really? So calling her a slut, bitch, cunt, and whore is worship? Yes, I've heard her say this with my own ears. I would never say anything like that. Nonsense. I've heard you say it. You get your backside off my property. Okay. I almost never find myself in situations like this, so I'm not used to it. I say that because after she said this, I pretty much saw red. I'm not proud of it, but I just started shouting every curse word in the book I could possibly think of at the top of my lungs while she went back in the house. But thankfully, that only lasted a few seconds, and I immediately calmed down. So finally, Ellie comes back out with her stuff. We put it in the car, and I assume it's over. But Ellie turns to me and says, Ellie, I'm sorry, but we can't leave yet. Why not? Sigh. Mom called the police. I sort of had a feeling that would happen. No big deal. So we just sat and waited for the police officer to arrive. After about 10 minutes or so, a police car pulls up. Right when he does, EM comes out of the house and oh my God. Yes, she was doing exactly what you think. She instantly puts on the fragile, brittle old lady act, hunched over, walking slowly, the whole gig. And of course, when the police officer asks her what happened, she has to pitch her entire medical chart to the guy. Ellie will tell you this woman has been terminally ill for 12 years, laugh out loud. So when she finally gets done trying to milk this poor guy for sympathy, she tells her version of what happened. Sir, He came onto my property and verbally attacked me. He's awful to me, sir, and I've never even done anything to him. He's turned my daughter against me and is trying to convince her to leave. At first, he seemed somewhat sympathetic to her until he turns to Ellie. Ma'am, this is your boyfriend? Yes, sir. Okay, and how old are you? Sir, I'm 23. This was my favorite part because the officer looked up from his notepad with a look of, wait, what? Obviously, he was thinking Ellie was a minor or something based on how entitled Mom was acting, but quickly realized just what he was dealing with. Eventually, he turns to me. Okay, sir, please give me your version of what happened. I did so. Funny side note, at one point police officer looks up at me and says, "You look really familiar. Do I know you?" It actually turned out the police officer and I had gone to high school together. Once we recognized each other, we laughed and shook hands very briefly. This was hilarious because out of the corner of my eye, I see the entitled mom has a big scowl on her face as she sees me getting friendly with the police officer. But anyway, the police officer puts his notepad away and turns to me. Just for your information, he says the following with this heavy tone of, "I know that you are fully aware of this and don't believe you are in the wrong at all, but I have to say this as a formality. Well, OP, she doesn't want you on the property, so be aware that if you come back here, you technically can be charged with trespassing. Do you understand this as I've explained it?" "Absolutely, sir." "But sir, I want to press charges." "He didn't do anything illegal, ma'am." Entitled Mom. "But he verbally assaulted me." I understand that, and while that was ill-advised, he slightly turns to me and gives me a small gesture with his hand, and I nod in agreement. It's not something I could arrest him for. He agrees he will not come back on your property without your direct permission. Titled Mom. "Okay, fine. Whatever. Ellie, come back inside." "What?" "You heard the police officer. OP is leaving, and you're staying here." "Whoa, ma'am, I didn't say that at all." But your daughter is not a child, ma'am. She is a full-grown adult. She has every right to go wherever she wants. I'm her mother. She lives under my roof. I told her she needs to stay here, so she needs to stay." "No, ma'am, that's not how it works. If she wants to go stay with her boyfriend, there is absolutely nothing you can do to stop her." EM starts the fake crocodile tears and stomps in the house in defeat. Ellie and I thanked the officer, got in the car and left. We have been living together ever since. The happy ending is that, believe it or not, entitled mom isn't really much of an entitled mom anymore. Over the years since that day, entitled mom has actually decided to make an effort to try and improve herself. I guess she realized that if she didn't make changes, she would lose her relationship with Ellie. So entitled mom started taking advantage of her medical coverage and went to see her psychiatrist and got medicine for mental illness she actually had, as opposed to the ones she would make up. Since then, well, she has actually gotten way better. She takes her medicine regularly and has a boyfriend that is an extremely kind man and treats Ellie as though she were his own daughter. So basically, entitled mom isn't really an entitled mom anymore. We actually get along very well, and we see them frequently, and we help each other out whenever we can. We actually look back on the early years when she was in fact an entitled mom and laugh. So not only is everybody getting along well, we can actually share the cringe stories and happily laugh about them. If you guys would like to hear some more, let me know. Whew, what a wild ride of a story. Honestly, I can't believe how far some people will go to protect their sense of control, even when it involves calling the police on their adult kids. It's a whole mess, but seeing how Ellie's mom has turned things around is just beautiful. Sometimes, change can really happen when the stakes are high, right? So, what do you think? Have you ever dealt with an EM in your life? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I'd love to hear your stories. Let's keep the convo going. Thank you for listening to today's episode of Voiced. If you enjoyed daily, high-quality stories, please like and subscribe to show your support.